Hey guys, happy Thursday. Little bonus video for you. We were thinking about throughout the season stuff that we could film in the field, educational side, that hopefully can bring some value to you. So our first video dropping today. During Land of the Free, you're gonna see these videos on Thursday, and it's just some how-to or some tips or some gear breakdowns, kind of all the stuff outside of the actual hunt. So hopefully you guys find some value in that. I'd love to see the comment section below fill up with ideas on other stuff or questions that you guys have that we can kind of touch on. And also, if there's some shout outs during the Uncuts Land of the Free, if there's a reason or a good cause or something you want to share with us that we can share with our audience, we'd love to see those comments as well. So during now or Land of the Free, any of those videos, just hit the comment section. We're reading through those and taking some notes. And yeah, just excited. But a couple things. If you haven't entered yet for the Hoyt sweepstakes, you can do that now. You can do it also every day. So click the link, check it out on the website, get your name entered in that hat. We're going to be giving away all 5 of our bows that we use during Land of the Free, those Hoyts. So pretty awesome. Hopefully they can share the luck that we had with them this season. So, and then also, big announcement on Mondays coming up. Remember Black Bear Friday from the years past? Hunt winners, all that, your opportunity to get that in your name in the hat is coming up starting next Monday through December 14th. So pretty excited. Appreciate you guys for all the support on the launch of Land of the Free. It was fun to do the premiere and chat through with people and see the excitement for it. We're excited to bring it to you, and just stoked that you guys are here watching another video. So we'll see you guys on Monday.
Welcome back, guys, to the channel. Today we are going to cover everything raking.
Sword fighting.
Not sword fighting, raking. So I think a lot of times people say, well, did you rake? Yeah, I raked. I think there's a ton of different types of raking, and it can be done a ton of different ways. And so we're just going to kind of go through some of the stuff that works for us.
Yeah, and different parts of the season and different bulls, I would say, kind of tend in on how things are going to go and how aggressive you're going to be raking or how soft and easy, quiet you are. If you struggle with calls and you still don't feel comfortable in a bugle, but you got a bull really close, raking can be a go-to deal. It's like you can't really screw that up. It's a good tool to have in your pocket when you're calling out.
And like you hit it on a little bit as far as timing, right? Maybe early season. Bulls, as you'll notice, bulls are going to start to get their horns, you know, all the velvet off their horns, to darken them up, to start doing that dominance thing. They're going to start raking earlier than season, like before season even starts. So it's a natural sound that time of the early year.
Yep. And so for two, like one thing we picked up with hunting with Verlin Savage last week, early season for him, his go-to is going to be like a soft pine versus a hardwood. Those bulls are, you know, freshly shed velvet. They've got pitchy trees. They're getting that more intense horn. It's not as tender, right? Or, you know, as they're building that through, building their neck muscles. You know, all part of raking is the breeding cycle. They're building the neck muscles to fight bulls. It's definitely a presence thing. So it's a really good factor when you're trying to call that bull in. So early season, stay away from big hardwood trees where it's going to make it really loud and aggressive sound. Try to find soft stuff where you're looking this here on these alders with leaves, or a soft fir tree or pine tree that, you know, typically that's what you're going to see. And big bulls will rake small trees. So,
and a lot of it too with the whole raking, what are you trying to establish, right? What are you trying to say to the elk, you know? Whereas if you have a call or you're using some sort of a call, you know what you're trying to say and he can hear you. But if you're trying to just do this like an early season thing, sometimes you don't even need to rake. Sometimes it's just like you can hear these leaves, this one not as much, but like this, you can hear this. That's a natural sound that time of year. Elk will, a lot of times it's not an alarming sound, it might even be a calming sound, might spark their curiosity kind of thing. And so a lot of times even not even throwing a stick to it and hitting it or anything like that, just the sound of and the whipping of it. And how many times have we heard that when they're going through and like, I hear something's whipping in the woods. And so even that's considered raking. Or so, something of this.
First off, you got to pick a stick, right? One thing to not look for: don't pick up a stick like this. It's light. You're gonna break it the first time you go at it. Pick up a stick Try to find one that's not too knotty, because inevitably you're gonna bloody your knuckles. Something smooth like what Trent's got there, decent mass, and something that you can actually make some action on, get some motion with it.
Because you want that sound to carry. The biggest thing is, like, say there's an elk 200 yards away and you want him to actually hear you. So sometimes you'll start by raking and doing this, but sometimes, like a horn, a lot of times you'll hear when they're raking a certain distinct, like, tink or hit on something, and then you'll hear very, very faint something else. And it's all in the same spot, and then you can kind of come to the generalization, he's raking, right?
Yep.
So there's a giveaway noise of a hit, something on that, or his horns are hitting on a limb or something. So kind of try to mimic that as you're doing it as well.
If I'm in a setup as a caller, we got the shooter out front. I'm gonna look around. Where can I get away with some movement? I can move over. I see some fir trees right over here, so I'm gonna make a move over. One thing, like when you're raking, elk make noise. You know, you can definitely break some branches as you're making that movement into it. So here we got a fir tree. Cool thing with a fir tree like this early on, especially on pines or anything like that, you're gonna get some scent off of that. You can smell that pine, any of that. So if you're coming in here on the rake side, right, we're just getting soft. It's nothing super aggressive, and that picked a good stick, right? We're not getting super aggressive. We're just the whole thing of raking, like, as the intensity builds with that elk and he's getting aggressive and raking, you know, you can definitely at that point get into it a little bit more. So the sounds here are focusing more like in this hardwood, you're making contact. The other, like Kent talked about earlier, whipping this tree. And if you're in a spot too where visibility is a thing, and maybe he can't see you, but you get a tree, you can see the top of this tree, right? He just knows that elk's making movement on that tree.
So when you're going to rake too, like in between stuff, so as a caller, I don't think we get it filmed a lot. We're just always filming the shooter. As a caller, I'm in the background and I am looking, okay, the elk's over here. My shooter might be over here. What kind of point do I want of reference to draw that elk in? So I will move a lot of times, even if I have to move back a little bit, just to get that line of sight and that line of direction where we want the elk to come in. And in that movement, I'm hitting knots and kicking limbs, and like, elk make a lot of noise. So part of raking is actually sounding like an elk on the ground, thump on a root or something. An elk, we've seen it before where they'll take a log like this big around and 8 feet long, and they'll hook it in their horns, and we've seen them like toss little logs and stuff before. So get into the character, if you will, of an elk. You know, it's not just simple tiny little noises. It's a production, honestly.
Yep. And like, I'll reiterate this, like, a lot of times too, like when that bull's out there, he's in earshot, he's maybe hung up, maybe tone down the calling at that point and just go to the raking side of it and really play on that side. It's, like I said, it's a sound you can't really screw up. If you make a bad cow call or a bad bugle, you might be like, oh wait, that's Doug Flutie over there, I've had that interaction before, I'm out. It's really a good go-to sound when you're calling setup.
Natural elk sounds is where it's at, and it's like raking is probably at the baseline of one of the easiest ones you can do without having any barrier to entry.
So in the calling side too, like as things are getting amped up, this bull is just tearing stuff up. He's fighting mad. You're gonna find a tree that's a little bit bigger at this point. It's got a lot more branches.
And as you can tell, it's a full body workout. It's like, there's been numerous times your knuckles are bloody, and if you're doing it to the level that it's supposed to be at times, you'll be sweating like a dog, but believe me, it helps a ton.
And you get bloody knuckles.
Yeah.
Part of the job.
take the raking to the next level and try some of these things when you're out there, and maybe don't even say a word. We've called in bulls honestly by just walking through the woods because it's natural. They think it's an elk and they bugle at it because they're fired up, and we didn't even have to make a sound. So raking's one of those things that if you're not super comfortable at calling or something of that nature, try raking a bunch and see what happens.
The active raking, honestly, it's marking territory, it's establishing dominance. That bull, like I said, it's part of the whole breeding cycle sequence. It's as isn't important as a bugle, wallows, anything like that. He's leaving his scent. He's marking his territory. This is where I'm at. So, and raking can also be in more of a non-threatening thing. You know, elk are herd animals. Early in the season, these bulls are out cruising. They hear soft raking on a pine tree. They're gonna close the distance to be like, hey, what's over there? They have that, you know, that's just their natural instinct. They're gonna join up or make enemies out of the whole deal and fight. So it's just one of those scenarios. It just adds to realism to the setup of calling.
I think it too, it's like a fighter training, right?
Yeah.
He's like training for the big dance.
It's a boxing bag, right?
Yeah, it's a punching bag. It's a look what I can do. Wow, you know, I really do. And we look at the trees, I think, when we're walking through the woods, like, man, that's got to be a big bull because it's a big tree.
Big tree.
We always talk about height, how tall it is. And that's another thing that you can do with like telling different rubs. I don't see any around us right now, but like checking the height of different rubs and be like, that bull's got some serious.
You look at a tree.
height.
You look at a tree that is big in diameter where they're not going to whip it over. A tree like this, even a rag 5-point, you can take and strip this thing all the way to the top, bend it over, push it down. So like that's not going to come into play, but it's when you get into a, you know, 10, 12-inch tree, it's raked up and sticks are broke up as high as you reach. It's a good bull.
Yeah, one that we're looking for. I don't know, I just made that up. I'm looking for anything. Guys, comment below if you guys see any value in this, and I hope you guys have been enjoying these in-between videos, in between the land of the free, and man, we've got a bunch more good videos to bring you. This season was pretty epic. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this, and
hit the comment section below if there's other tutorials that we missed throughout this year that you want to see in future episodes here on the Born and Raised channel. We'd love to see those comments.
No worries over nickels and dimes or a 9-to-5 grind. I gotta get loose sometimes. In trouble